The grand hall of the Xylos Empire was packed. Beings from hundreds of planets were present, all watching the center platform. The air was thick and heavy. For weeks, the new species, the humans, had been trying to make a treaty. They were small, soft-skinned, and had no natural armor or claws. To the tall, powerful Xylos, the humans were a joke. On the platform stood Ambassador Kale. He was the only human on the entire station. He wore a simple dark blue uniform, which looked like cloth. He was not wearing any power armor. He was not carrying any weapons. He just stood there waiting. He looked calm, but his heart was beating fast. He was here for peace, but he knew these negotiations were failing. The Xylos Emperor, a giant being of purple-skinned muscle, looked down at Kale with boredom. "Your species is weak," the Emperor's deep voice echoed in the hall. "You offer us ... trade. We have everything. You offer friendship. Friendship is for equals. You are not our equals." Kale kept his voice level and respectful. "Emperor, humanity does not seek to be your master. We seek only to be partners. We may look weak to you, but our strength is in our minds and in our unity." A laugh moved through the crowd. "Unity, minds," a voice shouted. Then Princess Xillia moved. She was the Emperor's daughter, known for being beautiful, arrogant, and cruel. She was bored with the political talk. She wanted to have some fun. She walked gracefully toward the small human ambassador. Her metal-tipped heels clicked loudly on the stone floor. She circled Kale, looking at him like he was a strange, new pet. "So soft," she said, poking his shoulder. Kale did not move. "And so serious." "Princes," Kale said, his voice tight. "This is a formal hearing. I must ask you to return to your seat." This made Princess Xillia laugh. Her laugh was like bells, but it was cold. "You ask me? In my own father's hall?" She looked at the crowd who were all watching her. This was her show now. "You humans are so funny," she said. "You stand so stiffly. You try so hard to look important. But do you know what you really look like?" Kale just watched her. He knew this was a test. He knew the whole galaxy was watching this broadcast. "You look like a piece of furniture," Xillia declared. The crowd laughed. "A stool, perhaps," she said, walking behind him. Kale tensed. He could not show aggression. He was a diplomat. His orders were to secure peace at all costs. "Yes," Xillia said, a smile on her face. A perfect seat. Before Kale could react, before he could even speak, Princess Xillia pushed her hands onto his shoulders. She was much stronger than she looked. Kale's knees buckled from the sudden powerful push. He fell forward onto his hands and knees. The hall exploded with laughter. Kale's face burned with humiliation, but he stayed silent. Princess Xillia smiled at the applause. Then, she did the one thing that would change the galaxy forever. As a final joke, she gracefully lifted her robes, turned, and sat down on Ambassador Kale's back, as if he were a common stool. "See?" she announced to the hall. "Useful after all." The laughter stopped. Instantly. It did not fade. It simply cut off, as if a switch had been thrown. The silence in the grand hall was sudden and total. Even the Emperor stopped smiling. Princess Xillia felt a strange vibration. It was coming from the human under her. She frowned. "Did it break?" she asked. Kale did not move. He was completely still. Then, a new sound was heard, a low electronic hum. It started quietly, then grew louder. Red lights began to flash on the walls of the grand hall. An alarm. "What is this?" The Emperor demanded, rising from his throne. "What is happening?" A cold, artificial voice spoke from Kale's uniform. It was not Kale's voice. It was a woman's voice, calm, clear, and speaking perfect Xylos. "Warning. Diplomatic Protocol 47 Alpha violated." Xillia quickly stood up from Kale's back. She looked confused. What is Protocol 47? Kale slowly, very slowly, pushed himself up from the floor. He stood and faced the Emperor. His face was not angry. It was not sad, it was blank, it was terrifying. Protocol 47 Alpha, Kale said, his voice flat and cold. It is also known as the Humanity First Mandate. It is a dormant law, activated only upon the physical and intentional subjugation of a Class 1 ambassador. During a peaceful mission, the Emperor looked confused. Subjugation? It was a joke. My daughter was just intent. Confirmed, the cold voice from Kale's uniform interrupted. Subject, Princess Zilia. Action, physical dominance asserted. Protocol 47. Activated. What does this mean? Zilia shouted, starting to feel scared. Stop this noise. Kale looked at the princess. For the first time, he let her see the cold fire in his eyes. It means, Kale said, that you just told the entire human federation that you do not see us as people. That you see us as objects, as furniture. The main screen in the hall, which showed the Xylos fleet in orbit, suddenly went black. Then a new image appeared. It was a symbol. A golden eagle holding a lightning bolt and an olive branch. The symbol of the human defense fleet. Requesting status, the voice from Kale's suit said. The Emperor looked at the screen. Your fleet? You dare threaten us? Kale shook his head. I am not threatening you, Emperor. I am a diplomat. I am not authorized to declare war. Then who is? The Emperor roared. Kale pointed at the princess. She is. Status confirmed, the artificial voice said. Its volume now boomed across the entire station. Case, broken arrow. Case, unwinnable situation. All diplomatic channels. Severed. What? No, Kale said, his own voice suddenly filled with panic. No, authorized level 2 response, not broken arrow. Negative, Ambassador. The activation is automatic. The joke was the key. The system is now live. High above the planet, the Xylos fleet watched as space itself seemed to tear open. Hundreds of dimensional gates opened at once. From them, massive gray, human warships emerged. They were not sleek or beautiful. They were blocks of iron and guns. The voice from Kay's suit spoke one last time, heard by everyone in the hall and by every ship in the Xylos fleet. This is Humanity Defense AI Jericho. A state of war now exists. All ships, weapons, free. Princess Zilia looked at the screen, at the hundreds of new enemy ships. She looked at the small, soft human in front of her. She had not activated a man. She had activated an entire species. This was not a negotiation. She had just started a war. The silence in the grand hall lasted for one more second. Then, chaos. Xylos guards, big and armored, lifted their plasma rifles. They had one target, the small human in the center of the room. Seize the human, subdue him. The Emperor roared, his voice shaking with anger. No, Kale shouted, his diplomat's voice returning. Stop, call your fleet back. You don't understand what you've done. You dare give us orders? Princess Zilia screamed. She was terrified, but her pride was still strong. You will pay for this, human. 4 Xylos guards fired their plasma rifles at Kale. The bright, hot energy bolts crossed the room in an instant. The crowd screamed. The plasma hit Kale, but it did not burn him. It did not even touch him. A shimmer, like heat in the desert, appeared around Kale's body. The blue uniform was not a uniform. It was a shield generator. The plasma bolts hit this invisible shield and splashed away, melting the stone floor where they landed. Kale did not look surprised. He looked tired. I am a diplomat, he said, his voice loud in the chaos. I am not your enemy. Liar, the Emperor shouted, pointing at the main screen. The screen showed the Xylos fleet in orbit, turning to face the new human ships. Your fleet is here. You planned this. Incorrect, the cold AI voice, Jericho, spoke from Kale's suit. We did not plan this. You did. We are simply responding. High in orbit, the Xylos Admiral, Lord Vrax, gave the order. All ships, fire on the human fleet. Destroy those ugly boxes. The Xylos ships were beautiful. They were curved, shining, and deadly. They fired massive beams of white energy. Thousands of beams crossed space, heading for the ugly human ships. The Xylos were famous for their energy weapons. Nothing could survive a full attack. The human ships did not move. They did not fire back. They just floated. The white energy beams hit the human fleet, and the Xylos admiral's blood turned to ice. The beams were just disappearing. The human ships were absorbing the energy. On the side of the human flagship, digital numbers appeared, bright enough to be seen from the Xylos bridge. The numbers were going up. "What is that?" the admiral whispered. "Sir," a young officer said, his voice shaking, I think they are charging." Then the human ships fired. They did not fire lasers. They did not fire plasma. They fired solid physical objects. Massive metal slugs, ugly and simple, were launched at almost the speed of light. The ZL-01, the flagship of the Xylos fleet, had shields designed to stop energy. It was not designed to stop a piece of metal the size of a small building. The first human slug hit the ZL-01's shield. The shield did nothing. The slug passed right through it. It hit the ship's beautiful, shining armor. The armor cracked, broke, and the slug kept going. It went through all 20 decks of the Xylos flagship and came out the other side. For a second, the ZL-01 just floated there. Then, it split into 2 large, burning pieces. In the Grand Hall, everyone watched the screen. They watched their greatest ship die. The room was silent again. Kale looked at the Emperor. "Our strength is not in our skin," he said softly. "It is in our minds. We knew you used energy weapons. So we built shields that eat energy. We knew your ships were strong against lasers. So we used rocks." The Emperor was pale. He looked at his daughter, Princess Xillia. She was the one who started this. "Kill him." Xillia shrieked, her voice high and crazy. "Just kill him." The guards rushed Kale, but it was not a fight. Kale moved faster than any normal person. His soft body moved with incredible speed and strength. The Protocol 47 Alpha was not just a fleet. It was an activation of the diplomat himself. The suit was now helping him, making him stronger, faster. He did not kill the guards. He simply hit them, and they fell down asleep. He was a diplomat even now. He would not kill. He walked to the center of the room. He looked up at the ceiling. "Jericho, it is time. Get me out. You are not going anywhere." The Emperor yelled. A hole burned open in the roof of the Grand Hall. A bright, blue light shot down, surrounding Kale. It was a teleport beam. Kale began to float, pulled up into the light. He looked down one last time at the Xylos royal family. The Emperor looked angry. Princess Xillia looked broken. She was shaking, her face white. She was finally realizing what she had done. She had not just insulted a man. She had not just started a war. She had proven, in front of the entire galaxy, that humanity's claim of peace was just a cover. Underneath, they were waiting. They were monsters. "It was just a joke," Xillia whispered, tears running down her face. Kale's voice, now mixed with the "I, Jericho," echoed in the hall as he disappeared. "The joke was not funny. Humanity's response has begun." The blue light vanished, leaving a smoking hole in the ceiling. Kale was gone. In the silence, the Emperor, the Princess, and the entire court were left to listen to the sounds from orbit. The sounds of their fleet being torn apart, piece by piece, by ugly metal boxes that fired simple, stupid, and unstoppable metal slugs. The hole in the ceiling of the Grand Hall was the only sound. It was the sound of burning metal dripping onto the floor. Outside, the sky was bright with explosions. But the explosions were one-sided. The Xylos Admiral Lord Vrax watched in horror from his damaged backup ship. His fleet was not being destroyed. It was being taken apart. The human ships, those ugly iron boxes, were not firing to kill. They were firing with perfect, cold precision. One metal slug hit the engine of a Xylos destroyer. Another hit the main weapon system of a cruiser. The human AI Jericho was disabling the entire Xylos fleet, ship by ship, without destroying them. They were being disarmed, like children. It was more humiliating than simple destruction. In the Grand Hall, the main screen changed. It no longer showed the battle. It showed the face of Ambassador Kale. He was on the bridge of his ship. He was no longer wearing his simple blue uniform. He was now in a white and gold admiral's uniform. He was not a diplomat anymore. Behind him, the I, Jericho, spoke. Its voice broadcast to the hall, the planet, and every ship in the system. The demonstration is complete. The Emperor, breathing heavily, looked at the screen. You monsters, he whispered. You had this power. You hid it. Kale's face was sad. We did not hide it, Emperor. We just prefer peace. We believe power should only be used as a last resort. We came to you as friends. Friends, you call this friendship? Shouted Princess Zilia. Her face was stained with tears, her royal dress torn. No, Kale said, his voice quiet but strong. I call this a response. He looked directly at Zilia. You sat on a human. You thought we were furniture. You thought we were weak. You did not realize what you activated. You did not activate a man. You did not activate a fleet. Kale paused, letting his words sink in. You activated our policy, he said. The humanity first mandate. It is the rule that protects us. It says that humanity will offer peace to all. But if that peace is thrown back in our face, if we are treated as objects, then we will show our strength. We will not allow ourselves to be bullied. The AI Jericho spoke again, its voice cold as space. Xylos Empire, your fleet is disabled. Your orbital defenses are disabled. You are defeated. The war is over. IT lasted 7 minutes. 7 minutes. An entire empire, the strongest in this sector, was defeated in 7 minutes. Princess Zilia fell to her knees. She finally understood. Her little joke had done this. Her arrogance, her pride. She had cost her people everything. She had not just started a war. She had lost it instantly. The Emperor looked at his daughter on the floor. He looked at the human admiral on the screen. He had never felt so small. What now, human? The Emperor asked, his voice broken. Do you destroy us? Do you make us your slaves? Kale shook his head. We are not you, Emperor. We are not the Xylos. We do not take slaves. We do not conquer. We just want to be left alone and to be treated with respect. A new image appeared on the screen. It was a treaty. It was very simple. Treaty of 7 minutes. 1. The Xylos Empire will recognize human sovereignty. Humans are sentient beings, not furniture. The Xylos Empire will pay for the repairs to the Grand Hall. 3. Princess Zilia will apologize. That was it. No demands for planets. No demands for money. Just respect and an apology. For the Xylos, this was the greatest defeat. They were warriors. But they were defeated by a people who did not even want to fight. A people who won a war in minutes and then only asked for an apology. Princess Zilia looked up, her eyes wide. Apologize? Yes, Kale said. That is the price for your joke. You will apologize to me and to my people in front of the whole galaxy. The Emperor looked at the disabled fleet on the screen. He looked at the human who held all the power. He slowly nodded. We accept. Kale nodded back. Good. We will send engineers to help you fix your ship's life support. We are not murderers. The screen went black. In the Grand Hall, there was only silence. Princess Zilia was still on the floor, crying. But her tears were not for her lost fleet. They were for her lost pride. She had sat on a human as a joke. And in response, the humans had sat on her entire empire. As a lesson, Ambassador Kale, now Admiral Kale, turned from the screen. He looked out at the stars, at the silent, floating Xylos ships. He sighed. It was a victory, but it did not feel like one. He had just wanted peace.